This week's Parsha, of course, we read about the building of the Mishkan as the place that represents the relationship between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Jewish people, the place where the Shekhinah resides. And of course, the first and innermost and most important kli of the Beit Mikdash is the Aron HaKodesh. The Aron houses the luchot given to us by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And twice we're told about the importance of placing the edut, the luchot that testify to our relationship, inside the Aron. Rashi comments on the second mention of this placement, Lo yadati lama nichbal. Why is it repeated a second time? It was mentioned already before. And it seems that the Torah wants to highlight the core, the innermost core of the Aron being the luchot that it houses. And the question is, what are we meant to learn from all of the descriptions, depictions of the Mishkan and the Kelim, and most particularly of the Aron, the innermost kli? And I believe that the Aron, more than any of the other Kelim, symbolizes our relationship, symbolizes what Torah is supposed to be inside us as well. And I think we can learn a lot from the way the Torah describes the structure of the Aron. We're told in the beginning of the Parsha, Mibayit umichutz titzapenu. The Aron had to be covered with gold on the inside and gold on the outside. Chazal wondered, why would there be a need to put gold on the inside of the Aron? No one would ever see it. Isn't that a waste of the gold? Chazal learned from here a basis for a very important principle, which is that we need to be on the inside as we are on the outside. A principle they called toho kibaro. We need to be true in and out, and not to be duplicitous in the sense that we're one way on the outside, which is not reflective of what we are on the inside. Gemara in Yoma, Daf Ayin Beis, recently learned in Daf Yomi, speaks about how terrible it is to be a Talmid Chacham whose inside is not like his outside. Rava says there, Kol Talmid Chacham she'ein toho kibaro, eino Talmid Chacham. Not that he isn't the ideal Talmid Chacham, he is simply not a Talmid Chacham. Because being a Talmid Chacham means when your inside that houses the Torah is gold like the outside. Abaye goes even further and says, Nikra nitav, it's disgusting because it's a chilul for the chachma that the person really has. And of course, this concept is the basis of the famous Gemara in Brachos Daf Chav Chet, which tells us that when Rabban Gamliel was the Nasi, he had guards placed outside the Beit Midrash to make sure that people who were not toho kibaro, whose inside was not like their outside, were not permitted to enter. Because a person who's not toho kibaro, not only is he not a Talmid Chacham, but there's a disgustingness to it as well. But I think there's a major question about both this Gemara and the pasuk that we are darshaning as the basis for the concept. The Gemara tells us that when Rabban Gamliel was removed from being the Nasi, and the guards were removed with him, they had to add hundreds of benches to the base medrash to accommodate the new Talmidim who joined. And the Gemara says that Rabban Gamliel felt bad that here he had left these people on the outside. The Gemara said he had a dream where they showed him white ducks filled with ashes to reinforce his impression that people not really true on the inside didn't belong. But then the Gemara says he was shown it just to make him feel better, because in truth, he was wrong. So even though we want toho kibaro, we don't paskin like Rabban Gamliel. We let people like that into the Beit Midrash. And I think what reinforces the question is the fact that if the Aron HaKodesh is the model of being true on the inside, why is it that on its real inside it was made of wood? Because of course the Aron was gold on the outside and gold on the inside, but a box of wood in between. How can this be a model for being true through and through if between the gold is wood? I think the answer to this is very important. A person should never live with a stira between the inside and the outside. They shouldn't get used to allowing themselves to act one way outwardly and act differently inwardly. However, no person is perfect on all the levels of their identity. And if a person will never allow themselves on the outside to do things that aren't fully supported through and through on the inside, they'll never be able to move forward in life. Sometimes we have to work within a reality where there are levels of wood between our gold. We may have a golden heart that wants the right things, But there may be levels between the heart and the way we express ourselves that are not fully l'shem shamayim. Should that keep us from giving ourselves a lead path? Should that keep us from trying to live in a golden way on the outside and hopefully bring the rest of ourselves along the process? And I think the Aron is the model of, on the one hand, making sure we're true on the inside, and on the other hand, allowing ourselves to move forward even when we're not true on every level. And that's why the guards of Herman Gamliel needed to be removed. We need to bring ourselves into the Beit Midrash to find the way of allowing our golden hearts to fill our entire identity till we'll be golden not only on the inside and the outside, but every way in between. We should not allow ourselves to accept duplicitness as truth. We have to have gold, ideally through and through. And we should not accept as justifiable living a double life. But we shouldn't allow our limitations to keep us from striving for more. Shabbat Shalom.